It is my pleasure to introduce you to a visitor who's here from Arkansas, Senator John Boozman, who is the ranking member on the Senate Ag Committee. Thank you so much for joining us on This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
Thank you for having us. It's great to be in our neighboring state.
You know, it's all part of the big boot, right?
We like you guys unless we're playing you.
Well, that's only in the fall and spring, so right now we're friends. Tell me a little bit about why you came here to Louisiana to talk to Louisiana farmers and ranchers here at the Louisiana Farm Bureau about the issues they're facing.
We've been to 20-some-odd states throughout the country, and I believe with all of my heart that the answer to our problems need to be solved from the ground up. We've had hearings in Washington, that's great. There's simply no substitute for getting out, talking to farmers, talking to the producers, and understanding the challenges that they're facing. And right now they're facing a lot of headwinds.
What are some of those challenges, and what changes do you think need to be made to the Senate's version of the Farm Bill to address those challenges, sort of in the way it is in the House bill?
Well, the biggest challenge we're facing right now is the fact that we're operating under a 2018 Farm Bill. The world was totally different then than it is now. And in fact, the 2018 Farm Bill was based on 2012 data, which again is totally different. So what we've got to do is update it. We've got to make sure that the risk management tools are in place. We've got to make sure that farmers have the ability through the marketing programs to get trade going again. Research is so very important, and then the conservation programs. But the basis of it all is the risk management tools. Farmers have to have the ability to know over the next 5 years that they have the certainty that they'll be able to go to the bank, borrow the money that they need in order to go forward.
You talk about the risk management. I mean, Southern agriculture is unlike agriculture anywhere else in the country. I mean, we can have a single hurricane, a single weather event right at harvest, and traditionally those risk management tools have not been able to catch that. Do you think that there's any change that can be made to help with that?
Well, I think disaster management is a problem now. It has been, I think, more of a problem in the South than years ago. Now, because of the climate, the way it is now, we're in a situation we're seeing that all over the country. Congress is pretty good about providing relief. The trouble is, by the time we pass a bill, decide we're going to pass a bill, get it passed, that might take a year. And then you have it has to be set up by USDA, how they're going to distribute it, and then they have to get the money. It might be 2 years after the event. That's too long, and people that are in dire circumstances, it just makes it that much more difficult. So again, that's something that we need to work on and in a very bipartisan way to figure out how we can do a much better job of that and provide the protection that our producers desperately need.
I think everyone knows that this is a presidential election year. It's a big federal election year. With that being the case, how do you feel, or what do you think the chances are we can get a farm bill passed this year?
Well, I think, we're working in good faith, and the good news is I visit with individual members of Congress, both on the House side and the Senate side. Most people want to get a farm bill done. It's for most of our states, it's the biggest economic driver in the state. So for lots of reasons, there's momentum that way. On the other hand, when you look at the calendar, literally with the election and things and the summer recess, we're only going to be there another 4 weeks or so. So it's going to be difficult to get done before the election. Then the lame duck will come where we have a session, and a lot of good things get done there, although you might have a transition. So it's pretty murky. But we need to get this thing done as quickly as possible. We need to give the farmers and ranchers throughout the country the certainty that they need as they go on, and again, facing high, as I said earlier, headwinds in the sense, very high input costs, commodity prices have gone down, and that's a terrible combination.
Yeah, certainty is important, and
Certainty.
also, before I let you go, I have to hit you up with one other bit of certainty. I know Mark Isbell over there in Arkansas grows some rather unique varieties of rice. What are you going to tell him whenever you go back to Arkansas and you say that you've had the best rice in the world by coming to Louisiana?
Well, it will depend on where I'm at as to where the best rice is at. But they grow pretty good rice.
They grow excellent rice.
You know, Mark's just a great example of a young farmer that is very forward-thinking, thinks outside the box, and really is doing a good job as far as being a great steward of the land, which is so important, as do almost all of our farmers.
And he's got great connections here in Louisiana. Senator John Boozman, thank you so much for joining us here on This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. So, as you heard, hoping to get a farm bill passed this year, but it most likely would not happen until the lame duck session.